Well, hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to another installment of Late Night with Uncle Fran. Merry Easter, boys and girls. What a splendid day of chocolate, eggs, and ham. I hope the Easter Bunny treated you well. Not too well, though. Diabetes is a rampant issue in this country. So many little piggies running around shoving whatever sweet treats they can find down their gullet. Churns my stomach with rage to think about it. Let's get right to the letters this evening. Here's this week's installment of Dear Uncle Fran. Alrighty. Our first letter this evening comes from Gordon, age 4, from the city of Milwaukee. He writes, Dear Uncle Fran, there is a man who lives in the shadows of the local playground who is always offering me candy and toys. Is this the Easter Bunny that you speak of? Signed, Gordon. Well, hello, sweet, naive little Gordon. No, this is not the Easter Bunny. You must stay away from this man. He probably means you harm. This is actually an ample time to bring up a concept we don't talk about nearly enough on the show, and that is stranger danger. It is important for you to discern which types of strangers to engage with in public, Gordon. Let me teach you how. A man with a bag of candy, or a priest's collar, probably means you harm. A man digging through the trash? Nothing to be afraid of. This is simply a homeless. You take a picture of him to show your friends later, and you move along, leave him alone. And finally, if you see my good friend Bert in public talking to a tree, he means you no harm. Though he may nibble on you a little, he is just a kind soul looking for a friend. I hope this helps you, Gordon. Good luck to you, young man, and God bless. Alrighty. Our next letter comes from little Sally Joe, age 8, from Sacramento, California. She writes, Dear Uncle Fran, I remember last Christmas you shared how much of a fraud Santa Claus is. I was wondering if you share the same hatred for the Easter Bunny. Signed, Sally Joe. Well, hello, little Sally Joe. No, I do not share the same disdain for the Easter Bunny, or EB as I like to call him, as I do for the fat liar in red. EB and I are actually quite close. He came to my home and I caught him putting treats in my basket, and he let me ask any question I had, and he was very kind to me. We even, after hitting up 3 or 4 of my neighbors' houses, got a beer. I was 9 at the time. Turns out the Easter Bunny is not a bunny at all. He's just a dirty looking man with bunny ears on his head who likes to go into strangers' homes, but that was fine with me. We engaged in political discourse and had ourselves a grand time. I haven't heard from EB in quite some time, but I hope you're a fan of the show, Mr. Bunny, and if you're out there and want to grab another cold one, well, you know how to reach me. Good luck to you, EB, and good luck to you, Sally Joe. God bless, little girl. Have a good one. Alrighty. Our final letter this evening comes from Carlos, age 7, from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Dear Uncle Fran, each year my Easter eggs get harder and harder to find. Do you have any tips on hunting them? Signed, Carlos. Well, hello, sweet little Carlos. So, you want to become a hunting expert during this beautiful spring season? Well, lucky for you, I have some experience hunting things that are hard to find. Let me give you some tips based on my experience hunting the enemy in Vietnam. Tip number 1. The enemy likes to hide in 3 dimensions. So, as much as you are looking ahead of you, you must also remember to keep your head on a swivel and look side to side and up and down. Oftentimes, the enemy in Vietnam like to hide in the trees. Maybe you'll find some eggs there. Next, it is important that you know your terrain better than the enemy does. This proved difficult in Vietnam as we were fighting the creatures on their home front, but we got the job done nonetheless. Your pastel-colored foes have no chance against your keen eye. And lastly, of course, remember to have fun. You know what they say, the hunt is a game for the predator and a dance for the prey. So, either way, you should be having a good time. Happy hunting, mijo, and God bless. Alrighty, that's going to do it for our Easter letters this week. Now it's time to go wish my good friend Bert a happy holiday. Alrighty, welcome back to the show, Bert. Happy Easter.
Oh yeah, Happy Easter. Yeah.
Oh, you seem really down on Easter, Bert. What's got you blue?
The Easter Bunny has traumatized me.
Really?
Yes.
How so, Bert? It's confusing.
When I was younger, I loved the Easter Bunny. It was my favorite. I was always so happy. I was always so excited,
Of course.
and I would argue with kids. I was like, I love the Easter Bunny, and they're like, oh, I think Santa's better, and I was like, no,
I actually agree with you on that. Yeah,
no, it's it's the Easter Bunny. So
agreed.
I was always super excited. I loved talking about the Easter Bunny. Everything was Easter, and it just so happened that I was the owner of the real Easter Bunny.
What do you mean by that, Bert? What do you mean you own the Easter Bunny?
So it was, and then carry the one. So it was around when I was um, 5 years old.
Wow.
It was on Easter, and all of a sudden this Easter bunny appeared in my home. So my family we raised the bunny, and every Easter the bunny would give us gifts.
It sounds like you just had a pet bunny, Bert. I'm not sure you own the Easter Bunny.
No, 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 no. That was the Easter bunny
What makes you so sure?
because he was white and he always had eggs he gave to everybody, and it was awesome. He gave us our Easter baskets every year, and it was
Really, the bunny directly gave you the Easter baskets.
yeah. Well, not directly. So there was, my father. He would take a picture, and he showed like the Easter bunny, and then baskets. So he's like, the Easter bunny gave it to you. I always loved Easter. It was my favorite holiday. Even in school, there was a point where like kids were bullying me.
Oh, that's sad.
I stood strong. I said, no, the Easter Bunny is real
Hmm.
and I own it. I have it. I have the Easter Bunny. They really didn't understand. So, it was one very dark Easter. In the morning, I went to get my Easter basket, and my Easter basket wasn't there.
Oh,
So I was all confused. I was like, oh, did the Easter Bunny hide it from me? So I was kind of just looking all over the house. And all of a sudden, I went up to my my upstairs. There's like a bathroom. We had a colonial, so I went to the upstairs bathroom and I opened the bathroom door. My father was standing there like this,
whoa, that's horrifying.
and he said, "Alberto, we need to talk."
Alberto. Is your full name Alberto, Bert?
You didn't know that?
No, I did not.
I've told you this repeatedly, and you just don't listen.
I don't think you have. No, it's the first time I've heard that name. It makes sense. I mean, you're so ethnic.
I am.
Yes.
Anyways, so my father, he stood there and he was like, Alberto, we need to talk. And okay, you know, what's going on, Dad? And he grabbed me and he put me against the wall and
Oh,
he goes, damn it, Alberto, you're 18 years old. The Easter Bunny isn't real.
wow.
And I go, what? What? We have the Easter Bunny. What do you mean it's not real? And he goes, damn it, boy. They only make fun of you because you believe in this fairy tale.
Hmm.
And he had the bunny.
Oh,
He
no.
had the bunny. He said, is this the bunny that you think is the Easter Bunny? And I said, no, I know it's the Easter Bunny. What are you talking about, Dad?
Uh,
So all of a sudden, he grabbed me. So now he has the Easter Bunny in one hand and me in the other hand. And he grabbed us and he put us downstairs. He sat me down at the kitchen table. And the way my house was set up, so his kitchen table, we kind of had like a sliding door, and it was glass, so you could see everything out of it. So he sat me down, the kitchen table. He opened the sliding door, and him and the bunny went outside. So all of a sudden, he set the bunny down. He gave it a carrot.
oh, nice.
Yes, and then I see my father go away, and the Easter bunny was just hanging out like he has been. And all of a sudden, my dad came back with a shotgun.
What?
And yeah, I came back from his shotgun. And so the bunny was just sitting there and he goes, "Damn it, boy, it's about time you learn." And I was screaming. I was like, "No, the Easter bunny. The Easter bunny just murdered him." And he looks at me and he goes, "You still believe in that shit? You're next." And I was like, "Oh my God."
Your father's such a harsh man, Bert.
I was so traumatized that the next day I enlisted in the military, and that's how I
Oh,
ended
really?
up in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because my father murdered the Easter bunny.
So if you think about it, actually, if your father never killed your pet rabbit right in front of your eyes, we would have never been friends.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's blessings.
Yes, of course.
Yes,
It's one of those Mandela effects.
right. The only bad thing was, so after he viciously murdered my rabbit, the Easter bunny,
Of course.
we had the basket, and he brought it out, and it had all my favorite things like it usually does, and I was like, the Easter bunny's final parting gift, and my father, he just threw it at me
Oh,
and hit me in the side of the head, and he goes, "You still get your Easter gift, bitch boy." And I was
oh
like,
my.
"Oh,
What a cruel man.
I'm forever traumatized."
I'm not really sure what to say to that, Bert. It's quite the tale you just told us there. Did that feel good at least to get that off your chest?
No.